This is Joshua Tooley. I'm doing a quick demo today of just some of the things that you might experience with IT from a graduate student perspective. It's going to be pretty quick. It's going to be very short. I'm going to point you to a lot of different websites that you might have the opportunity to interact with and go over a couple of the different services that'll be available to you as a student of the university. So let me jump straight into a couple of quick items that you need to be ready for and that I think are kind of the highlight things that you need to be aware of when you're working at TCU as either a student or as an employee of the university. Okay, so let's jump straight into some basic technology overview items. The things that we get asked questions the most really fall into these three or four areas. One of them is about getting your personal devices connected to the network. We have a network that's available called the Eduroam network. It's available at thousands of institutions across the globe. And what's really cool about the Eduroam network is this is where you can put your personal devices, and then when you go to SMU or you go to UNT Health or over to UTA, even some local universities, they're running the Eduroam network, and you can immediately connect with your TCU email address as your username and your password. So for those of you who need to get connected with your different devices, all you have to do is connect up to the Eduroam network and put in your TCU email address as your username and your TCU password. Keep in mind, there are no limits on the number of devices that you can connect, and there's no required registration. But if you want instructions on how to connect to the Eduroam network, visit it.tcu.edu/Eduroam. That has instructions on how to connect your Mac, Windows, Android, and iOS devices to this network. This network is WPA Enterprise or WPA2 Enterprise required, and so there's only a certain number of devices or types of devices that have that security protocol that can connect to the Eduroam network. We also have some other information out there about what we call the TCU registered network, which is for non-traditional devices, devices that aren't Mac, Windows laptops, or even iOS or Android devices. These are some other devices that if you're living on campus that you can connect to. We have lots of information out on the IT website. If you visit the IT website and click on student computing, it's going to direct you to how to access the TCU registered network if Eduroam doesn't work for you in these cases. We also get lots of questions about account access and passwords. Keep in mind that once you create your TCU password, it starts a cycle where every 120 days you have to reset your password. You're going to start to get an annoying email about 14 days before your a password expires, and then it's going to email you every day until you change your password, at least until the last day, and your account gets locked out. Make sure when you get those warnings, the quickest way to stop them from coming is to make sure that you go through and reset your password. It can be easily done at password.tcu.edu, and you also have the opportunity to reset your password if for some reason you forgot your password, or it's been a long time and you haven't gotten into the system, or even after your password is expired. So an easy way to get access to some of the different resources that are out there. People always call the help desk and they're like, can you reset my password for me? And that's something that we're unable to do. We actually walk you through this password self-service site. So anytime you're having trouble with your username and password, always start here first. It's the best place to get yourself set back up and can be done remotely without having to be on campus, just as long as you have access to a device with internet access. Another thing that we're rolling out as well is something called Okta MFA, which is a two-factor or multi-factor authentication service that's going to be protecting different services that we will roll out to campus. Right now, it's only covering a couple of services, but if you get an email saying that you need to enroll in Okta MFA, please go visit it.tcu.edu and /Okta and complete the enrollment process. It has a really cool app that you can download to your phone that allows you to have a rolling code so you can be anywhere in the world without internet access. Pull up your mobile device and you can use it for additional authentication to get into the system. It also has push notification on your phone. That does require internet access. And it has SMS texting as well. So there are three really great options for getting in. And multi-factor authentication is very similar to what you would see if you were logging into your banking institution, where it has you log in with your username and password, which is something you know, and then something you have with you, which is like a mobile device that can validate your identity and allow us to move forward with granting you access to the system. There are two multi-factor authentication systems on campus right now. One of them is in my TCU called 2FA, and the other is called Okta MFA. We are rolling Okta MFA out to campus, and it will be replacing the other 2FA system that we have in my TCU right now. Another item that we get lots of questions about is about printing in labs from your personal devices. Well, you can actually do that. You can either print from a lab machine or you can print from your personal device. There's instructions out there on it.tcu.edu/printing. But anytime that you print to these solutions, you have to go to the device itself, slide your ID card, and release the job from there. And you do get $30 worth of printing credits per semester. Those are not something that roll over. They do expire at the end of the semester, and something that once you run out, then it becomes something that you're billing back to yourself as part of Send Home. Another real big item that we get lots of questions about is how do I check my email and how do I get access to Office? Well, those are all easily done at stumail.tcu.edu. You can also get there from my TCU. There's lots of different ways to get to this particular page, but this email window is a page that allows you to access the web interface for your email. Now, you can set it up on your mobile device. You can set it up on your iPhone, Android, iPad. When those pop up, and generally you're going through the process of telling it that you want to set up an Exchange account, and it will ask you some basic information about your username and password, and we have an auto-discover process in the background that normally helps you configure that without much help. But if you ever need assistance, I'm going to have some information later on in the presentation on who you need to contact when you've got a question for IT. So let me also brush across a couple of different other services that are out there that are really important. I'm not going to talk about each one of these services, but I am going to remind you how you can access these services. Really great opportunities that you need to learn to explore. TCU Announce, a really great tool for being able to post out different things that might be for sale or look what individuals are asking for from a help perspective. Box is an online file storage solution. I personally love this tool. Really great for being able to store, share, and collaborate on different tools. Email and OneDrive is actually another file storage solution very similar to Box that's paired in with your email system called O365. We've also got a cable TV solution for those of you who are living on campus. You can get that at tv.tcu.edu. It's got great streaming services and other functionality for on-campus students who live on campus. I just referred to printing that you might have access to either in a lab or for printing from your personal device. Qualtrics is an online survey tool that gives you the opportunity to create and manage survey solutions that you might have some interest in. And then Zoom, which is our video teleconferencing solution. Just so you know, I'm actually recording this presentation through Zoom. So not only is it a great way to do video conferencing, but it's a great way to capture a particular lecture or a presentation or other things that you might want to share out. Some important pages to refer to, and you probably already know about both of these, are MyTCU, which is at my.tcu.edu, and TCU Online, which is our online LMS tool, and that's at d2l.tcu.edu. Those are quick, easy ways to get access to some of these tools. Really, really great technology. And then the last thing that I'll cover is lab software access. One of the things that you might want to be able to access if you don't have access to a specific lab that you can get into at a specific time or you're off campus is to access what we call our lab access solution. You can get information about how to access this and what software is available by visiting keeplearning.tcu.edu. Real great site that's got all the information as well as how to authenticate via our VPN and how to remote in to a series of machines that are on campus. Those are some great sites. Definitely encourage you to go spend time looking at each one of the services that are out there and get yourself up to date with what's available to you as a TCU student. Okay, so let's talk about some basic do's and don'ts. And this is going to be real quick. There are a lot of things that I could cover, but these are some of the big items that you need to be aware of. One, if you're living on campus, do not bring wireless routers, hotspots, or hubs to campus. Those can create wireless access issues, create interference in classroom spaces or in residential hall spaces. So we do not encourage you to bring those. And in some cases, it could lead to you getting kicked off the network if you're plugging in a router that's creating network problems in a resident hall. The other thing to avoid using is peer-to-peer file sharing applications. That's applications like BitTorrent or LimeWire. They may be great for sharing certain types of things, but generally they're sharing copyrighted material, which in some cases can be very illegal. And in many cases, what we see with students that use these peer-to-peer file sharing tools is that they end up with some infected file on their machine, and then it ends up getting them kicked off the network because of some kind of infection that they have on the device that requires it to be clean. We also encourage you to be very conscientious of the emails that you reply to. Don't always assume that a message that you're receiving is legitimate, and don't always give away your username and password or take action until you verify that that comes from the right source. Always look at where that message is from. Is it from a tcu.edu email address? Does it look legitimate? Do you question it? If you do, it's always good to reply back and ask questions or even call the help desk, and we can go through the process of helping to verify whether or not that may be a phishing attempt. And these are individuals that are always trying to get your credentials so they can use them and access your account and either steal what information they can get, or in some cases get access to other people's information through that process. Two other items to be aware of is that we do always want you to keep your machine up to date and be using virus protection. Those are great ways to help protect yourself and your machine. It doesn't matter if you're a Windows or a Mac user, both are very susceptible to being infected by something if you're not keeping the equipment up to date. And then the last thing to keep in mind is that if you're living in a residence hall, always use the wired network for your streaming devices or gaming consoles or desktop computers. Those are the blue ports that are in your resident halls in your room. Each room generally has one port per pillow or per bed. And we at the help desk will also provide Ethernet cables if you don't have an Ethernet cable, or we'll provide coaxial cables for your cable TV if you want to plug into the cable TV system living in a residence hall. So there's some really great functionality that you can get, but I always remind individuals using the wired network is the safest. It's the probably best performance type situations, and that's why we're always pushing you to putting your streaming devices or your gaming consoles on those, because you get the best overall experience. So those are some quick do's and don'ts from a technology perspective while you're on campus at TCU. Nothing too crazy, but if you follow these processes, there's some real great experiences that you'll have when you're working on campus. Okay, so let's talk about the last item that I have in this presentation, and that's really about who to call when you have help. There are lots of different ways to get in touch with the help desk, but all of your technical questions that you have from an IT perspective should start with the IT support help desk. You can contact us several different ways. One of them being by calling us at 817-257-4357. I will give you a hint that 4357 spells help. So if you forget how to call the help desk, as long as you know the 817-257 prefix that we have at TCU, the last four digits always spell help. You can chat with us or visit our website at it.tcu.edu. There's a ton of information available to you on our website. I've given you quite a few links already that will give you lots of context. And we also have a walk-up desk called the Frog Pad that's very similar to an Apple Genius Bar. You can walk up right now. We're also going to be working on scheduling some appointments for individuals, especially during our COVID-19 pandemic situation. But that's another great way to get service, especially if you need walk-up help. Don't look through the address book for a way to reach out to the help desk. We do not do direct email, just like Google and Apple and Microsoft and all these big companies don't use email for support. They ask you to go through a submission process. And so what we do in our case is we have a self-service tool, which you can access by visiting my.tcu.edu and clicking on the technology icon. This will put you through to our self-service portal and allow you to actually fill out a request based on the type of service or issue that you're experiencing. That'll go directly to our service desk, and we have what we call a QA team that will go through, review your request, and assign it to the appropriate individual who will work through that process. So don't go looking through an email address to try to email us directly. I will tell you that once you open a self-service ticket, you're actually going to receive an email, and you can respond to that message and have an email interaction with the individual that you're working with. But you can't open a ticket via email. You always must start by creating a self-service ticket with the IT support help desk. We're also open extended hours. One of the organizations that's open longer than most of the other places or business offices on campus. We're here to help support you. We're actually located in the library. So if you ever need to visit the IT support help desk, you can come in the east entrance of the library. It's between Reese Jones Hall and the library, and you'll see these jet bridges that you can walk into. And we're here to try to help work you through any of your technical issues. Even if it's not an issue that we might be able to handle or solve, we're going to try to point you in the right direction and get you connected to another location. So know that the IT support help desk is always here to help you, always trying to make sure that your experience is positive with the university and that you're able to interact with the technology that you need while you're here. So again, that was the short and sweet version and kind of a quick overview of the services that IT has provided out to its students. If you have questions, give us a call and we'll be more than happy to work you through that process. Have a fantastic day and thank you so much.